All right, so this is the continuation of the emotional self. All right, so we are now in the fourth component of emotion, which is the social expressive component. So, our emotion has a communicative aspect. How do we communicate with our emotion? We use different kinds of postures, gestures, vocalization, okay, facial expression to make our emotions public. Okay, and our verbal and even nonverbal communication can also be used to express this kind of emotion. Okay, so let's say, for example, okay, when you try to say a certain word to or certain phrase to a person, okay, in different intonation but this with the same words, it might mean differently. Okay, so that's how we try to communicate with other people. There are different aspects. Nonverbal communication sometimes are too loud. They are louder compared to verbal communication. Okay, so with this kind of social expressive component, it helps us to interpret the situation and how a person would react to a certain event. Okay, so facial expressions convey emotions, as I have said earlier, and you will see from here different changes with the facial expression. Okay, so this might look like wondering what happened. Okay, this one is some kind of shocked. All right, this is, I don't know if he's disgusted or what. Okay, I want you to be familiarized with how you play with your facial expression. Okay, and expressing your emotion, because that will be my activity later for you guys. Okay. So, categories of emotion, we have two categories of emotion. Okay, the first category is the primary emotion. Okay, so primary emotion, this is actually the initial emotion that you feel, okay, and they are triggered in response to a certain event. Examples: love, joy, anger, sadness, surprise, and fear. Okay, so secondary emotion is, let's say if we experience fear, that is your primary emotion, then there might be another, okay, emotion that might appear, and that is called the secondary emotion, and it will depend on the situation we are experiencing. Okay, let's say for example, okay, um your teacher called you, okay, called your attention to reprimand you or to discipline you, and your initial reaction was you are so embarrassed. Okay, so you are ashamed of yourself and you're embarrassed, and that is the primary emotion. After that, you get angry with your teacher, which is actually a secondary emotion, because you felt like you do not deserve that kind of disciplinary action or reprimand. Okay, so that is an example of secondary emotion. Other examples might be passion, optimism, irritation, disgust, shame, or nervousness. Okay. So, for variety of emotion, we have positive human emotion and negative human emotion. For positive human emotion, it can lead one to feel good about oneself, that lead a happy and satisfied result. Okay. So there are really some people who are very they have the positive energy and they attract positive people as well. Okay. And they are trying to always see the bright side of things. Okay, but there are a lot of people who have negative human emotion, and they are actually draining your energy, okay, and undermine your effectiveness as well. So if you know someone who always complain about everything and anything, okay, so in the negative emotional state, you find the lack of desire to do anything if you always complain and you always highlight the negativities. All right. So there are different kinds of theories of emotion. We have the Cannon-Bard theory of emotion, and the other is the James Lange theory of emotion. So let us first discuss the Cannon-Bard theory of emotion. So this one states that we react to a stimulus and experience the associated emotion at the same time. Okay, so we feel emotions and experience physiological reactions such as sweating, trembling, and muscle tension simultaneously. So to give you a better idea, I'm going to give you an example. Okay. So for example, you saw a snake. Okay, so you became afraid and you